A federal judge has denied Sean Diddy Combs' efforts to delay the start of his upcoming sex trafficking trial. The music mogul appeared in court today. His legal team wanted to push the trial start date by 2 months, saying they needed more time to prepare because of new charges filed earlier this month.
Imagine having unlimited money, 4 separate law firms on your payroll, and a newly hired celebrity attorney, and still being told your excuses aren't good enough. That's exactly what happened to Sean Diddy Combs when Judge Subramanian denied his request to postpone his sex trafficking trial. The Bad Boy Records founder now faces a nightmare scenario: a fast-approaching trial date with jury selection beginning May 5th and a mountain of evidence against him. His legal strategy of delay and deflect has completely backfired, leaving him cornered as multiple victims prepare to testify about alleged abuse spanning 20 years, from 2004 to 2024. With 4 law firms, all the money in the world, and one of the most talked about defense teams in recent memory, you'd think Sean Diddy Combs could stall his sex trafficking trial at least a little longer. But Judge Subramanian wasn't buying it. Known for his no-nonsense approach, Subramanian shot down Diddy's plea for more time faster than anyone anticipated. His message was loud and clear. The courtroom isn't a stage for stall tactics. Justice won't wait for anyone's schedule, not even a billionaire's. Now, let's break down exactly how this legal strategy unraveled. Diddy's team argued they were overwhelmed by new charges and evidence added to the case, which they claimed would require extra time to investigate and prepare a solid defense. These weren't small-scale additions either. The latest amendments include accusations involving Victim 2, who alleged a series of incidents that prosecutors suggest reinforce a larger pattern of abuse and exploitation. Diddy's lawyers leaned hard on the idea that reviewing and responding to these changes required more than the time allotted before the May trial date. But here's the problem: Subramanian wasn't having it. For him, this wasn't about what Diddy's legal team wanted. It was about what the victims have already endured. Citing the Crime Victims' Rights Act, a law designed to protect victims from excessive delays that might deepen their trauma, Subramanian emphasized that granting a postponement would fly in the face of those principles. And let's be real, his decision couldn't have been clearer. He pointed to the sheer size of Diddy's defense operation. With resources most defendants could only dream of, 4 law firms stacked with experts, and the recent addition of Brian Steele, a legal heavyweight famous for defending hip-hop royalty, Subramanian wasn't about to let them cry not enough time. This wasn't Subramanian's first bold move in the case. His stance has been tough from the start. Setting the trial date months ago, he signaled that delaying justice wasn't an option here. Even when Diddy's team asked for bail shortly after his initial plea of not guilty, the judge didn't budge. His consistent approach is sending a strong message. Star power and privilege can't overshadow the demands of the law, especially when victim stories are hanging in the balance. And here's where it gets even messier for Diddy. This decision has exposed potential fractures in his entire legal strategy. The mogul's defense seems to have leaned heavily on the hope that the timeline could be stretched, allowing them to mount an unshakable counterattack. Instead, this decision cornered them into a rapid preparation process, and any misstep along the way could have devastating consequences once the trial kicks off. Even Steele, who's made a name for himself defending major figures like Young Thug in racketeering cases, faces a monumental challenge. His reputation as a courtroom powerhouse will be tested in a way that few attorneys experience. Of course, the trial isn't just about keeping up with legal deadlines. What looms larger here is the weight of the victims' experiences. Subramanian's unwavering decision draws attention to the testimonies expected to be presented. Prosecutors argue that these accounts span decades and involve tactics of manipulation, coercion, and control. Many of the alleged survivors will testify anonymously, shielded under pseudonyms to protect their identities. It's a level of detail and preparation by the prosecution that suggests they've been building an airtight narrative. For Diddy, that spells serious trouble. You also have to wonder what this denial signals about the court's attitude toward Diddy's team. Subramanian's sharp tone and firm boundaries are setting the tone for what's shaping up to be an intense legal showdown. The rejection of Diddy's delay request wasn't just a setback. It painted a picture of a judge who's fully committed to moving this trial forward, regardless of celebrity distractions or sprawling teams of high-profile attorneys. And this isn't just speculation. Subramanian invoking the Crime Victims' Rights Act shows that he's grounding his rulings within strict legal frameworks, not personal opinion or courtroom theatrics. For Diddy's legal team, this means they'll need to act fast, faster than they likely anticipated. Despite their overwhelming resources, the pressure cooker atmosphere of preparing a defense on a tight timeline isn't easy for anyone, even for someone like Brian Steele. The stakes are unimaginably high, not just for Diddy's case, but for his reputation. A billionaire mogul with a decades-long career doesn't step into a courtroom like this without risking permanent fallout. What happens when one of the toughest defense attorneys in hip-hop steps into the corner of one of music's biggest moguls? We're about to find out. Brian Steele, the legal powerhouse that recently joined Diddy's defense team, is a name that makes waves in courtrooms. Known for his fearless tactics and relentless pursuit of acquittals, Steele has built a reputation by defending high-profile clients in cases that seem almost impossible to untangle. Most recently, he commanded attention representing rapper Young Thug in a sprawling racketeering trial that had everything from leaked wiretaps to courtroom drama. His ability to navigate these legal minefields is undoubtedly why he's now standing beside Diddy. Steele's arrival isn't just about adding expertise, it's a clear signal of how high the stakes really are. His past cases prove his tenacity. During the Young Thug trial, he even faced a contempt charge for refusing to reveal confidential information about a private conversation between a judge, prosecutors, and a key witness. The fact that Steele walked away with that contempt charge dropped and the judge removed from the case shows how far he's willing to go to protect his clients. This kind of fight-to-the-last breath resolve is exactly what Diddy will need as his trial barrels forward. But Steele isn't walking into an easy victory. If anything, his task is growing tougher by the day. On the other side of the courtroom, the prosecution is coming in stronger than ever. The most recent blow, a third superseding indictment that piles on even more allegations against Diddy. This latest charge specifically addresses claims from victim 2, adding yet another layer of accusations related to sex trafficking. While Diddy's defense team frames these as new allegations that make extra preparation time essential, prosecutors disagree. They argue that the new charge doesn't introduce any fresh conduct, but simply reinforces the larger narrative of abuse already laid out in the original case. It's a move that adds weight to their story and shores up their argument about a decades-long pattern of behavior. With every new development, the courtroom becomes more like a battlefield. On one side, you have Diddy's legal dream team, backed by 4 separate law firms and now bolstered by Steele's commanding presence. Such overwhelming resources are rare, even for celebrities facing serious charges. This team isn't just playing defense. They're working to poke holes in the prosecution's claims, frame the timeline of events in Diddy's favor, and ultimately shift the narrative away from guilt. But all the legal muscle in the world won't mean much if the prosecution's evidence proves as damning as they're claiming. What stands out about the prosecution's strategy is their focus on victim testimony. Central to their case will be first-hand accounts from alleged survivors, stories that could carry devastating emotional impact in court. Victim 1, known publicly as Cassie, will testify under her real name, a bold and deliberate choice that signals not only her confidence, but also her determination to hold Diddy accountable. Meanwhile, other witnesses will testify anonymously under pseudonyms, which is a common practice in cases involving highly sensitive allegations. This balance allows the prosecution to present its case while protecting the privacy and well-being of the accusers, a strategic move that reflects just how careful they're being in their approach. The victims' testimonies are expected to paint a picture of control and exploitation that spans decades. By linking these new charges to a broader pattern that allegedly began years ago, the prosecution is banking on showing the jury that this isn't about isolated incidents. It's a story they've prepared to tell in painstaking detail, with layers of evidence meant to reinforce their claims. Each accuser's account could play a crucial role in connecting the dots, making it harder for the defense to dismantle the larger narrative. In a trial like this, the stakes go beyond guilt or innocence. For Diddy, this is about saving his empire and his legacy. As much as Steele and the rest of his legal team want to win this battle for him, they're not just fighting the prosecution, they're fighting the court of public opinion. The allegations alone, racketeering, sex trafficking, and abuse, have already cast a long shadow over a career that once seemed untouchable. In a social climate where accountability is more important than ever, the outcome of this trial could permanently redefine how Diddy is remembered. For the prosecution, securing a conviction isn't just about Diddy, it's about sending a message. High-profile cases like this carry the weight of symbolism. A guilty verdict could bring a sense of justice for the victims and act as a warning to others who believe fame and fortune can shield them from the consequences of their actions. At the same time, prosecutors know that losing the case could lead to intense backlash from the public, especially given how serious these allegations are. This trial isn't just a legal fight, it's culture-shaking. On both sides, the stakes are as high as they've ever been. For the defense, it's about carefully dismantling the prosecution's story piece by piece, creating enough doubt to protect their client. For the prosecution, it's about leaning into the raw power of victim testimony and hoping the jury recognizes a consistent pattern in the alleged abuse. Diddy's trial is shaping up to be more than just a court case. It's a battle to salvage his entire legacy. With accusations of sex trafficking and racketeering hanging over him, the stakes couldn't be higher. The testimonies of alleged victims and whispers of incriminating evidence are already painting a damning picture under the unforgiving lens of public scrutiny. Every development in court threatens to unravel decades of influence, wealth, and fame. What do you think? Will the May 5th trial mark a turning point for justice or the end of Diddy's reign? Drop your thoughts below because this story is far from over.